Alright, today I'm going to do a video on a slightly modified Tram D201A and only on the manual slash VFO transmit. So this has been modded per the first Secret CB version, which is I think in Secret CB volume 3 or 4. But anyway, this is the easiest version of modding a Tram D201 or D201A to transmit on the VFO. Later, like volume 10, Secret CB did an update that is a little bit more involved, and that one gives you a little bit more range, because instead of just the 1 to 55 channels on the VFO, it goes up to channel 55 there. That's max of what it goes. It hooks it along with the crystal selector, so if you go up the dial on the crystal selector, that changes the frequency of the VFO and it gives it a few lowers and a bunch of uppers. But if 55 channels is fine, going through 1 through 55 and everything in between on the VFO, and this easier mod is what you'll want to do. If you absolutely need a few lowers and uppers above 55 on the VFO, then you might want to look into the other mod. But most people want to do the easy one, and 55 channels in this is enough. And then this is just a printout from Secret CB, and that's the back diagram of S4, the crystal manual switch here, and that's the back of it here that needs to be modded, and that's I'm showing the pinout and a picture of it. And these are the 4 steps that you do, and I'm just going to get right into it and start on step 1. Jumper pins 3 and 7. And over here on the back of the manual switch, see if I can get a little more light in there. And where'd I put my pointer? Down here at this yellow wire here, yellow and white, that's what that is. Hard to see, but that's a yellow, it's a white wire with a yellow trace. And then this red jumper here is a jumper that's added to enable the VFO. So that's pin 1. The white and blue is pin 2. That's violet at pin 3. There's nothing at pin 4 except the empty space. Let's see if I got a better pointer. We'll use a pencil. Here's the empty space. That would be where pin 4 is, but there's nothing there, just an empty slot. This white and red here is pin 5. Behind it, harder to see with the wires in the way, but white and orange, the next one is pin 6. And then pin 7 has another jumper that I added. I put them big red ugly jumpers on there to make it easier to see, hopefully. But before I put the jumper on there, pin 7 had nothing going to it. Then pin 8 under here. Alright, that's not a bad picture if I can hold it. Pin 8 is nothing in between here. Pin 9, there's a terminal but nothing's on the terminal. And then pin 10 has a orange wire going to it, and then it's got a black wire added to it to enable the VFO. That's part of the mod. So I'm going to start here again. Jumper pins 3 and 7. So back over here, pin 1, 2, 3, you'll see the jumper on pin 3. And coming around behind there, that one that had nothing on it, it's now got the other end of the red jumper over there to pin 7. That's step 1. Step 2, jumper pins 1 and 5, or 5 and 1. So again, that's pin 1 with the white and yellow wire there. and it goes over to pin 2, 3, 4, pin 5 with the white and red. So the white and yellow down here at pin 1 goes over to the white and red at pin 5. That's jumper number 2. And I'm going to skip step 3 for now because that's on the back, but I'm going to go down to pin 4, ground pin 10 of S4. S4 is this manual switch, and pin 10 is that orange one down there at the bottom. See if I can even zoom in. You see pin 10 there, the orange wire? That black one is the one I added to it that goes through the hole on the chassis because I didn't find any good ground points, you know, around here. But underneath the chassis, there's a good ground terminal or ground contact. So I just put the black wire on pin 10, that orange wire there, and through the hole on the chassis. And now we'll flip it around to the back side. And that's where it comes through the hole. I got it looped out so you can see it, and it comes over here. And it's grounded to this ground terminal right here. So that's grounding pin 10 on step 4. So now I'm just going to go back to step 3, clip out D126 and D125. Those are diodes. And D125 was down here if you saw that other video of when this radio was stopped. And actually I just put some heat shrink over D125 here, and I just clipped one end off. It doesn't make any difference which end, but that diode originally just went from this white and red wire over here to this purple or violet wire. And you just want to clip one end. You could take the thing completely out if you want to, but then if somebody wants to mod it back, all they have to do on this with one end is take off my heat shrink and then solder it back over to the violet. That's D125. And then over here on the AM SSB switch on the back is D126. If you watch that other video before I modded it, it shows you this one. And it goes in, see if I could zoom in a little bit, to that yellow terminal down there, and this other diode here goes to it. Leave that other diode in place. But this diode with the, now I got the heat shrink over it. It originally just came across and went to this top violet point right there. That's where it went to before I cut it and put the heat shrink on it. So that's D126 where it would go. So you just want to cut a leg and put some tape or some heat shrink or something, or just cut it completely out. But if you leave it there with one leg, you know, out the way, not bothering nobody. If somebody wants to put it back to all just crystal, you can leave that in there. So that's it as far as the mods. And with this mod, again, you just can receive and transmit on manual on the VFO. And quickly, what they do, you got to do all these steps to be able to do that. Jumper pins 3 and 7, that's basically putting power to the 16 megahertz channel 9 crystal only in manual. So when you go in manual with that jumper there, as soon as you go to manual, you're going to have power on the 16 megahertz channel 9 crystal. So anytime you go to manual, you're going to be 16 megahertz on channel 9, which is what you need for the VFO to be on the right frequency. The second one, jumpering pins 5 and 1, puts the 16 megahertz on all the rest of the crystals in crystal mode. Over here is in manual mode. You're going to channel 9, and step 2, the second jumper in crystal mode, it's going to put the 16 megahertz instead of channel 9 only. It's going to put it to the channel selector to all the rest of the crystals. So it'll work, you know, the way it's supposed to. You know, channel 1 will be connected to the channel 1 crystal, etc., etc. Clip out the diodes D126 and 125. It removes the 4 megahertz and the 16 megahertz crystals in transmit. because you got the 16 megahertz here in crystal, and you got the channel 9 coming in manual, so you don't need that 16 megahertz in the transmit side coming in, because you got it going to the right places with steps 1 and 2. And the 4 megahertz crystals is what the VFO is going to bring in, that 4 megahertz. So you don't want the 4 megahertz in manual mode, because in manual or VFO, you're going to get the 4 megahertz from the VFO, not the crystals. So that's why you need to clip that second diode. And then this last step, that grounding that pin 10, that puts a ground on the VFO in manual mode, where if you don't ground it, it's only going to put the ground in manual receive mode. So when you ground it, it goes, it'll be manual in both receive and transmit. So it's got to be grounded for the VFO to work in both receive and transmit. So, you know, that's going to show this in case somebody want to copy it or try to print a picture out of that. And I got the radio warming up, and I did this radio before where I showed that it was fixed to the crystals only. So I'm going to go to 13 here, and I'm in crystal mode. And that's going to key it down on the frequency counter. And there you go, 27.116, a little off frequency, should be 27.115. That's channel 13. And, you know, I can go, you know, down the dial like channel 1, 26965. And channel 40, 27405. So the crystal still works. So we're going to go to manual right quick, and we got the VFO up on channel 55. So we key it down, and there we go, 27.556. You can see the watts drop as we go up in frequency. Tram and Brownings, these old tube radios are not wide band, so you ain't going to get 100, 200 channels out of them. You're just going to lose the oscillation as they go up and down the band. They're not made for that. They're narrow band. But anyway, let's turn it down to like channel 45 here. Look like we're a little under 45, and there you go, 27.445, and you can see the power coming up as we go down the dial. I'm going to lock the mic and dial in the VFO. You can see the frequency change, and you can see the power coming up as we go down. So anyway, that's it. That's how to modify a Tram D201 or D201A to transmit off the internal VFO.